after the very fortunate timing of the Reichstag fire, he assumed dictatorial powers. Basically, had the Senate dissolved. Were they called the Senate? I think they were just called the Reichstag. And in any case, all the semblances of democracy just went bye-bye. And that was that. So that was the end of Weimar Germany. Now, today we have a situation in which an ex-president, Donald Trump, has been accused of a crime that many think, again, is trumped up. Ha ha ha. So, although there was some, if you want to say, yeah, the January 6th stuff, that was treasonous. I think that's kind of silly, frankly. I don't think if you look at it objectively, that there was any attempt to overthrow the government. It was, at worst, just a kind of a riotous scene at the Capitol building. People broke in and just sort of, I don't know, hung around and it was no putsch. I'll say that it was no beer hall putsch, but that's not what they are trying to get Trump for. What they're trying to get Trump for is for paying off a hooker and for disguising the funds that he paid her as legal funds. So I guess it's kind of financial fraud. Those are the charges that they've decided to compile against Trump at this very interesting juncture, right? The year before he's probably going to be running for president again. So it's going to be interesting to see, again, we saw what happened with Hitler. We saw his arrest and how he used that moment, those circumstances, to pivot, as it were, and to promote himself and to promote his ideas. And essentially, he came out on top. All he did was a few months in a very cushy jail, and then emerged. His party more powerful than they had been when he went to jail. So here is my prediction. Although I'm not following the story all that closely, because I'm really not. I don't, as I've said before, I hate the news. I hate getting caught up in the news. I think it's a waste of time. I think it's worse than a waste of time. I think it's something that can just obsess you and make you think that, I don't know, the bad things that are happening today are going to last forever. Or on the other hand, it can fill you with false hope. Like, oh boy, we're coming. This is, QAnon, enjoy the show, trust the plan, it's all coming out. It's all coming out. We're going to get those perverts all rounded up, and the good guys are in charge, and it's going to, just get your popcorn, because you're going to see all those evil deep state people just frog marched to the guillotine. That, you can very easily get caught up in things in both of those, and hope deferred maketh the heart sick. So So don't hope. Don't have that kind of hope that where your hope is always getting deferred. Where it's always like, oh, it's about to happen. 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 Which is what the Q people were like from 2017 all the way through January of 2021. It was like, yep, he's got it all. Our man is in the driver's seat. He's got his ducks all in a row. He's just working it all out. And pretty soon we're just going to see him falling like dominoes. In fact, they already are falling like dominoes. They said things like, McCain, he didn't just die of cancer, all right? He was put to death by a military tribunal. And Tom Hanks is dead. When you saw him on Saturday Night Live that time, that wasn't really Tom Hanks. You could tell it's not Tom Hanks because look at this picture of him. It doesn't look like his ears in this shot. It looks like CGI, and so on and so forth. It was all pretty absurd, pretty ridiculous. But I do think it will be interesting because I do believe in historical patterns. I do believe I think the dictum about history repeating itself the first time as tragedy, the second time as farce. I think that's those are the words of an oracle, right? It's vague enough where you can just fit it into a lot of different situations, but it certainly fits here. Not that there isn't a lot of tragedy now, and not that there wasn't a lot of farce then, but I would say that compared to a character like Hitler, somebody like Trump is more of a farcical figure. Anyhow, what will unfold here, is again my prediction. I think that Trump will likely succeed at using this spectacle to promote himself and to manifest this idea of martyrdom, which isn't even all totally inaccurate. That his enemies are trying to make an example of him. They are just flinging stuff in a desperate effort to get him and to nail him, because we've never seen this kind of obvious partisanship before. I mean, we've seen obvious partisanship on many levels, but we haven't seen a case like this where you've got a DA who's clearly got an agenda, who's clearly part of a group who has an agenda, and that agenda is to get Trump. And these were charges that had been passed up on before by, I think, the Department of Justice. Nobody had this is in a way old news, but it's the best thing they have to try to throw at him, to try to hurt him. And just as was the case with Hitler, I believe, just like Hitler was a showman, a consummate showman, so is Trump. And I think that he'll likely succeed at using this as a catapult to greater recognition, greater success, greater approval amongst those on his side of the culture war divide. I see that happening. I see nothing but an upside for DT here, and I don't even say that as somebody who's particularly Trump partisan, who's particularly a Trump partisan. I hate the same people who hate Trump, so I guess it's sort of an enemy of my enemy thing in my case. But if you go back and look at this channel and look at everything I've said and everything I've ever written, in spite of what some of you might be prejudiced into thinking, if you just stumbled on this and you hear me saying the words that I'm saying, I've had people before tell me, "Oh no, you are a Trump supporter. You're a Trump supporter. Don't lie now. You're a Trump supporter. You know you are." I'm like, "Oh, well, you know me better than I know myself, and you don't even know me at all. That's interesting. That's very interesting." And yeah, the fact is, I like Trump better than I like his enemies, but that doesn't mean I'm a Trump supporter. So, if you're going to say that it's a pretty tepid level of support, if it's just like, yeah, well, he's kind of annoying, he's kind of this not very likable guy. But on the other hand, the way he gets hated on by all these other people who are clearly up to no good whatsoever, these WEF people, World Wrestling Federation people, these globalists, let's get quintuple vaccinated and give all of our money to Ukraine. Compared to that crowd, yeah, I would say Trump is the lesser of the evils by far. So there you go. Trump and Hitler. History repeating itself. First time as tragedy, now as farce. And the farce marches on inexorably. And I truly fear November 2024. But at the same time, I wonder if this could be maybe where we finally get past this Weimar era. Maybe Trump wins the presidency, or maybe it's a close fight, and civil war breaks out, and the military decides to take Trump's side, and Trump gets installed, as a not a Hitler-esque figure, but as like a let's say like a Caesar type figure, and democracy finally dies. It dies the worthwhile death that it needed to die. And the Weimerican Republic is finally sacked and purged, and that can't happen soon enough. But if it happens after November of 2024, then I'm gonna be right there to say I like it, I approve. This is good. Let's keep going in this direction, and let's leave Weimerica far, far behind. But we'll see what happens. Thanks for watching my speculations, and talk to y'all soon.